was a goal by John Brown last season, no less. So they have something to fight for this afternoon. Grant winning number 2 and has come forward already. Roy Aitken released from the back today. He'll be playing in midfield. And a moment or two we'll get a look at a man who's been out of the Celtic team since the middle of September. Paul McGugan, there he is, going towards the ball there as Dundee attack. Picked up there by Angus. Many. Look at the way Roy Aitken crouches over the ball, always attentive. Celtic defence had come out there as Angus has it. John Brown. John Brown, who always plays very usefully against the old firm, scored against both of them this season and last season. Well, Dundee playing confidently enough, stroking it about, missing out on that one, but McInally no chance of picking it up, and there is McGugan again. Well, that's a good ball, and covered by Fierce O'Leary. Celtic striker at St Mirren the other week, last week no less, scoring his first goal ever for the club. It denied by Owen Archdeacon, there's no offside. It's a marvellous chance for Johnston. Great save, Geddes. Technically correct. Out in an instant, sliding his legs up towards it. Wide going, but Archdeacon gets in a mess. Aitken persevering, paying off, and McInally given offside. Good move by McInally all the same. That's not a good move, arguing with the linesman. All the time in the world to Henry. Quite right to stroke it around, try and keep possession, which have done very well. Forward it goes, there's no offside, and there's a great chance, and how did he miss it? Oh, dear, oh dear, Mende. I bet he doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Probably cry. Look at this, he took it with the outside of the wrong foot. Was that a push from Maurice Johnson? Referee didn't seem to think so. McInally, that's a better position for him. It's the way he likes to run. Johnston wants to lay to the side, and there's no offside. And McStay had 2 men bearing down on him very quickly. There's very little else he could do is turn and try and get it across. But what was good about that attack was the support that McInally got from both Johnson and McStay. Whoops. Well, that might well have been left, except that Maurice Johnson, you'll see him now, he's going over to take the corner kick. He was hovering in the background. Aitken. Oh, he gets his opening beautifully. Feels for a penalty. Referee waves play on. Aitken is incensed, and Dundee counter-attack. Angus breaking. Needs a little bit of support. He tries a longy shot. And the boos continue. Celtic supporters disgruntled about that challenge on Aitken. Seemed to me he was blocked. Very loose ball out of the Dundee defence, being slightly pressurised now by Celtic. Excellent ball there. Round it goes, and it wasn't far away. Brian McClare's shot. Well, what I liked about that was the way he tried to control it. Look at the way he cut round. Brown, Crouch going towards it. Now Paul McStay. Been very closely marked indeed by Shannon. But he opens it out well, always finding the space. This is the kind of move I expected of McClare. He tries to put it in again. That's so typical of him. I mean, that came out out of absolutely nothing. A great ball by McStay, and then there's the little chip and curve ball that almost paid off. Looked like a nudge, but Grant has it. Johnson ran very well for that. He took off very early. Gets it across beautifully. Great play by Johnson. Got that out of nothing. Grant. Now McGugan. Too hard. No, I think McGugan's timing is out at the moment. As I said, he's trying to ease himself gently into this. Now look at this ball by Johnson. That early cross, almost catching the Dundee defence out. Four minutes to have time. Brown wanted it back. There he is. Good running. It's Many, in fact. Many, Bonner, Brown is in for it. And a free kick, yes. Goalkeeper fouled in Brown's challenge and quickly taken. Aiken. The charge is on, and McInally didn't make the run, and I think Aiken will be more than a trifle annoyed about that. I mean, he did all the spade work, opened it up on the right, and nobody had supported him. Only Brown is forward for Dundee. Dugan parted with it better that time. Here's Brown, away he goes. There's a bit of a tangle there between two players off the ball. And there's O'Leary. No support for Brown. Useful run on the left too. No onside. Good run by Johnson. It was the early run that caught the defence out again and saved there by Forsyth. Now, obviously we can't show you the start of the early run, but what really got the Dundee defence was how well he picked it up in midfield long before, how he began his diagonal run long before he picked it up on the right. Up and over, McGugan was there. Just down forward there by Brown. And there goes the half-time whistle. Celtic supporters are booing, obviously displeased that at home that's a score after 45 minutes. Although I've found it an enjoyable game of football, not a classic, far from it. But there are two things obviously we'd like to look at again, just to remind you of how that first half went. And in case you didn't believe it first time out, have a look at this miss. I mean, it really is rather incredible. I just wonder, I think Many froze. I think he took stage fright. Couldn't quite put it away when it ought to have been so easy. And then, of course, the thunderous look that Roy Aitken gave the referee after being denied what he thought was a clear penalty kick after that block. But there we are, it wasn't. There is no scoring. And I would imagine both sets of players will look forward to the challenge with relish in the second half. And as we're about to start the second half, we hear from around the land that there isn't a single goal being scored yet in the Premier Division. So we hope it isn't the onset of the Ice Age or anything like that. Not that we've suffered this afternoon. Well, I can't speak for the both sets of supporters. I've enjoyed the game. There has been the odd thing that has happened that I'm sure has caused anguish to either Celtic or Dundee. But it's been a worthwhile game, including the performances of, I was about to say Brian McClare, but he passed it to Roy Aitken for that shot. I thought McClare's been very useful in the last part of that first half. Nice little flick on there by Shannon. Shannon working very hard for Dundee in midfield. Shannon, I saw him playing in Ireland recently for the under-21s at right back. ahead of Henry. Celtic in a useful position, and Maurice Johnson gets a second chance at it and puts it away. Excellent opportunist goal. That was the definitive Johnson strike. He made it out of absolutely nothing. Now, when I say nothing, there was certainly a Celtic attack, but look, Celtic had lost the ball, he got it back, kept his head, and even though it trundled into the net, he had it under control. 1-0, 1.5 minutes of the second half gone. I fully expect Celtic to go for the kill. 1-up this early in the second half. McStay, charge of proceedings. Archdeacon, that's useful. And again. Notice how he went forward as soon as he passed it. Johnson will let fly this time. Takes his eye off it. And instead of derision, gets a sympathetic cheer from the supporters below me. As Archdeacon set him up, he just chipped underneath it. Aiken picking it up, but there's Henry. Henry doing that very well. Dundee have come back intelligently. There's a forward ball, and out comes Vaughan, and he did very well there, thwarting that. The three Dundee men bearing down on him. Good move by Dundee. Harvey. Is there anybody inside? Not for Dundee, there's not. That was Roy Aiken. Angus, very slackly. Beautifully kept in play then. And Celtic have got away. McInally pushed forward there by McStay. Now Roy Aiken. And that must be, that's... Normally, Brian McClare would have put that away. It may well be that when the ball was pushed across eventually by Roy Aiken, that it was just behind him, seemed to jump over the ball. White. Dundee got the throw, and you couldn't get Heisman any closer to an incident than that. Midway through the second half, Celtic is still 1-up. Dundee still playing well, trying to fight back hard into this game. And McInally. Geeky just picking that up. Starting the counter-attack. Now Brown lying handily on the left. Here's Rafferty. Harvey trying to get the shot, and he's well covered. Well, I must say, the Shepherd coming on, Tony Shepherd. And I think the cooking is going off. So Celtic will reorganize themselves. Probably Aiken going into central defence again. Shepherd playing right midfield, however, we shall see. Harvey. Tempting one. Does that well, Bonner. Now, the sub. Tony Shepherd. I said playing right midfield and losing out on that. Geeky. Throw to Dundee. Yes, he held that ball very well. Had to do that, but having said all of that, that was a bit negative. Dundee actually have played some very intelligent midfield football. Kept plugging away. Many. Well, that wasn't so clever. Kept in by White. Johnston. Seen little of McInally in this match. That's over. Well, I think the Celtic supporters moaning a little at the one or two players up front, but they're not getting much service all the same. Got to get the ball to show what they can do. Oh, good pace by Archdeacon. Well, that's been a Johnson, done it again. Two-0. As simple as you like. 17 minutes of the game remaining, and that goal owes a lot to the pace of Archdeacon, who refused to give up. Nevertheless, still a difficult chance, and put away with the greatest aplomb. Brown. Now Angus. There's McGeechy. Tries to square it. There's Brown, and that is woeful finishing now. A kind of dispirited air about Dundee. And now we're going to have a look at Keith Wright. Here's 21-year-old Keith Wright coming on, signed by lunchtime today from Raith Rovers. He scored 19 goals last season, 21 the season before. And up he goes to make his appearance, very briefly, in the Premier Division. And Angus tries to cut it back. That must be. Oh, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Still capped out. Oh, Merde almost breaking the bar. They want that ball pushed forward again. Angus. Oh, well, I mean, when you miss chances like that, you simply do not deserve to pick up anything in a game. As simple as that. That was Merde that time. Two incredible misses by Merde. Very soft finish there. Down it goes to Johnston, and there's offside. Well, here's Menne again. We can't hide the fact that there was another distinct chance, again with the right foot, and an afternoon you want to put behind them. Shannon did well. Rode the two tackles very skillfully. That's a good one by Wright. Yes, and brought down. That looked very useful. He looked fast and strong. That's the first indication he's given us of how he can really play. So we're into injury time. Free kick to Dundee. There's a good punch up there by Bonner. Hasn't been bothered this afternoon, and the whistle brings it to an end. It's been Maurice Johnston's afternoon. The chances that he took and made to look so easy would be missed by maybe 7 out of 10 strikers. They weren't easy, but he put them away, and up he goes for that well-deserved bath and the long journey with his mates. out to the Middle East.
Celtic getting the 2 points, and very deservedly. I thought it was a very entertaining game of football, and all credit to Dundee. Although they went 2-0 down, they came back very strongly and played very intelligent football. But what a contribution Mo Johnson made. What a week he's had. And then to come out under great pressure and to score the kind of goals he scored. I know he makes it look ridiculously easy at times, but think of the number of strikers, you know, watching game by game, week by week, who get opportunities like that and can't put them away as simply and as deftly and concisely as he does. He was immense for Celtic today, and it put a broad smile on David Hayes' face. And I asked him afterwards if he felt it had been a very good afternoon for him.
As you say, one of their goals, it wasn't one of our contenders for the championship. And it made up, I think that made up, along with the victory today, for the disappointment of the defeat through the week. And as you say, it was a good game, and I think Dundee deserve credit for that.
Well, when you scored your first goal, I mean, I thought you were going to win the game, but it was then that Dundee had a very good spell.
They did. Midfield, they came at us, and they were coming up on their left side. We were a bit short on the right side, and we will get the second goal. I think that more or less finished it, although they hit the crossbar after that.
Were you a bit disappointed after midweek?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. The first half, Hearts were the better side, competed better. We come into a bit better in the second half, although we can play better, but we never get the equaliser. But having said that, the players have done exceptionally well in the first half of the league programme. It's a case of carrying on from there.
Were you quite content today to have your McGugan back in beside O'Leary, with Roy a bit freer to go into midfield?
Well, he did well in midfield, Roy, there, and Paul, although he was a wee bit shaky to be in, they come on to a reasonable game after his long layoff. And it's another option to the pool, and Tommy Burns having the plaster off yesterday and Murde getting fit, that'll help us in the run-in.
Well, there's little doubt who the man of the match is as far as I'm concerned. I wondered if you'd give me an argument about it. I would plump for Mo Johnson for making it look simple when it isn't so simple, is it?
Well, especially second goal, he took it exceptionally well. And only Archdeacon deserves a bit of credit there for making it for him. But, I said to him before the game, you've got to score, and it'll allow you to get it Monday tonight.
You know, the thing about getting away from it all is that you'll be able to get the players to relax, won't you?
That's true. We're obviously in there, and there'll be a bit of sunshine as well. And after the long, hard programme there's been so far in the league, I think it'll be beneficial to us.
How seriously do you take a fixture like this? I mean, it is friendly. You're playing in the Middle East in a kind of exotic setting. Do you take it all that seriously?
I think Celtic always take friendly seriously, and I think we owe it to the people who invited us there and the people who will be watching the game to make sure we put up a good show.
You know, you're going to see this game, or at least the Scottish viewers are going to see it on Wednesday night on Sportscene.
Well,
at great expense to us.
We'll have to win then.
Well, I'll tell you what, are you going to have a sun tan when you come back?
No, I need to go away 3 weeks before I can do that, and I think Brian Clough's the only manager who's allowed to do that. I don't have an assistant either to allow that to happen. Davy Hay, a very contented man, and obviously satisfied with that afternoon. By the way, Celtic have gone 30 games without defeat here at Parkhead in all competitions. Were beaten last by Dundee United in October 1985. The nearest contenders, Dundee United and Aberdeen, were playing, of course, at Tannadice today. A goalless draw there, and that means that Aberdeen have had 8 shutouts in the last 10 games. A goalless draw, too, at Love Street today between St Mirren and Hearts, their 3rd of the season. And a wood save, a brilliant save at that, an acrobatic one, I hear, 15 minutes from the end of the game from George McCluskey, got a goalless draw at Easter Road, and that means that Hibs have only won 1 of the last 12 matches. And Clydebank and their goalless draw today, well, that means they've gone 11 games without a win. Positions in the Premier League. Well, an important week coming up for us, and of course tomorrow night at 7:15 live from Studio A in Glasgow, we'll be finally establishing the sports scene personality for 1986. All the votes have been cast and counted. Nobody's let me into the secret. I don't think Dougie Donnelly knows even. But at this moment in time, if somebody asked me who's going to win it, I would have to say very boldly, I'm sitting on the fence. I haven't the slightest idea. But you will find out if you join us live tomorrow night at 7:15 for sports scene personality of 1986. And then on Wednesday, I said at the start of the programme that you'll be able to see highlights of Celtic playing in Dubai against Liverpool. And there'll be coverage of the other 2 European games as well, so I'm looking forward to that immensely. But particularly, of course, to tomorrow night, 7:15. Don't miss it. It's going to be marvellous. A wonderful panoramic view of 1986 sport. Who's going to win? Well, keep your fingers crossed for whoever you voted for. See you tomorrow night. Good night.